Yo, so the opinions and views expressed in this podcast are that of our own and the future Bachelor podcast only, and not affiliated with any outside party or entity or anything like that. This fun podcast, though, may include some adult language.
Future Bachelor podcast.
Anyways, let's go into what we like to talk about here. It's that time to talk about Bachelor stuff on our show. Yes.
Woohoo.
But before we get into this week, Bachelor Talk, YouTube, why don't you go ahead and subscribe, smash that thumbs up button, and hit that notification bell so you can get notified every time we bring you Bachelor content just like this. And if you just did, huge shout out to you. Ooh-wee. Air horns for ya. Wow. A huge introduction for what is probably not going to be a big section of our show.
Probably like the lamest amount of Bachelor. There's just really not a lot happening.
We could talk a little bit, though. What are we starting up with Bachelor stuff with? And also, we're doing a short one because Veronica's sick. We're trying not to.
Because I'm dying.
Yeah.
Well, it was the Boston Marathon this past week. Actually, shout out to some of Sim's friends, Dan, Pelko, and Moses that all ran in it. Good job. They had incredible times. They did super well.
That's awesome.
And I'm pretty sure most of them qualified for either to run again next year or qualified to run in upcoming marathons like the Chicago Marathon. So great stuff. But in Bachelor Nation news, Matt James ran it. He got a personal best with like just over, I think it was like 3 hours and 49 seconds. So just barely crossing that 3 hour mark, which I mean, I could never be me. My mom used to run marathons. My mom used to train people for marathons. I have no desire, none. Really just like, not for me.
Yeah.
But
I mean, it's interesting though, cause I've been running, a lot. Like I've been doing like about over 3 miles a day now, so it's kind of crazy to even think that like I've been able to build myself up to that much. Like, but it took like me running just legit 5 minutes a day, and as long as I could hit those 5 minutes, I was like, all right, I'm doing my job. And then eventually,
some people can run a mile in 5 minutes.
Yeah, that's insane. But
that's how most of these people fucking pace.
I mean, I'm like 8 minutes. That's where I'm comfortable at the moment. But regardless. Yeah, it's something that you have to like build your mind up around, like. Yeah,
it's a mental thing, faux show.
Totally, but yeah, so I mean that's cool. He did some good time.
Yeah, a little over 3 hours, so that's pretty good. Good for him. And then it was truly like this past weekend was weekend 1 of Coachella, and it was also Revolve Fest, which. With Revolve Fest, that is truly like influencer Olympics, because like how you get invited to Revolve Fest is which it's like literally a separate festival that's like held right by Coachella. So usually like if you're the influencer type, you either, have your GA tickets or VIP tickets to Coachella, but then you like if you're invited to Revolve Fest, you get like that VIP. It's a whole different thing. And then there was like super VIPs at Revolve Fest that were like Timothée Chalamet or whoever. It was just like there was different tiers of VIP, I guess, that people were getting upset about. But Revolve Fest, like you have a contract with them. And like because of that, it's like truly like you're there to make content, and you're there and like in return you get, $2,000 worth of credit to specific clothing items. But you have to like promote it and whatever. And like you get free drinks while you're there. But there was like all this like hullabaloo about how like the busing systems that they had to get people to Revolve Fest were like super late, we're behind, we're leaving people stranded for like hours in the hot desert sun, weren't giving them water, like they got like a one free pizza or like whatever. Like people were like bitching and moaning, which like my thing is like, and now a lot of them are like not supporting Revolve as a brand. And like Revolve's like 70% of their income, I think, is based on influencer marketing. So I'm interested to see how that changes like with all the Bachelor Nation folks, because like the Hannah's, I think, what is the one that's like engaged to Dylan Barber, Hannah G, and then like Kit Keenan, all those people who are like, you know, pretty well known as like former contestants of the show have pretty high partnerships with those kinds of brands. So interesting to see how that could change in the future, because they got a little pissy about how poorly or not poorly this event was run.
Yeah, no, I think it's hilarious because it's like almost sounds like the worst like place to be. Like
I know they were comparing it to Fyre Fest, and like I've been seeing all these TikToks of them being like, "This is let me give you the tea on Revolve Fest," and I'm just like, this, and like a lot of them were like, I just felt like, you know, it was definitely like a content competition, and I'm like, oh my god, like this is like you guys were, it's ridiculous, like it's just so bizarre to think about. To be honest,
that would it almost sounds like a theme park. Like you would pay an experience just to go there to see like all these influencers. It's like influencer in the wild, but like a zoo. You know what I'm saying, of them. And yeah, no, I mean, I saw a lot of like backlash of it. People just like, I mean, it's like people that usually have things given to them for free. They finally have something given to them for free, and I wonder how it works, you know, if there was like bad PR and stuff, like, you know, do they still get all they have to do is report on it, right? Do they still get their $2,000 worth of clothes?
Yeah, I think like their contract pretty much, like I think most of them, like their contract was up as of like ending of the festival and stuff like that, and got their credits and whatever, because I think some of their credits had to be used for like clothing that they were going to wear to the fest.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know,
this isn't, it doesn't sound like a Stagecoach situation here.
No, but Stagecoach, I think, is in a couple of weekends. So hopefully there will be some more drama out of that, just because we know that to be, the
melting
drama.
pot. Yeah.
The drama, the melting pot of Bachelor Nation.
Do you think they get Balake to DJ at Stagecoach?
That'd be hilarious, but I doubt it. But like, I mean, the typical folks were at Coachella, like the Katie Thurstons and her boyfriend John, and like all the different couples and all the like different like well-known people. But like to me, I'm like, okay, cool. They were in their little outfits. It's whatever.
Yeah. You know, I've been seeing stuff about like to change topics. I've been seeing stuff like people talking about how producers are picking favorites these days. I was seeing some like Peter.
For sure.
Peter
Tammy's
Weber,
gone on a couple of
Tammy.
podcasts talking about that.
What has Tammy been talking about?
She's just been talking about how she like wasn't a favorite, and like how they definitely like told her different things than they told other folks, and like just stuff around that level. But I don't know. It's hard to depict like how much of it is like, you know.
Yeah, I've been seeing like her talking about how like, well, because they pick favorites, like, you know, it's like, you know, there was that one couple on Bachelor in Paradise. We don't know who they are because they went home on their week like 1 or week 2 or something like that. But they were like chastised for knowing each other before coming on the show and then like picking each other. But there was a bunch of couples that did that stuff that, you know, didn't get as much, you know, hate. And people like there's tiers of like Bachelor Nation people, like, you know?
For sure.
So it's kind of like a popularity contest, and producers play into that. So, you know, right now people that are very unpopular are like people like Peter Weber, like they're distancing themselves from him, even though he was a bachelor, like, you know.
He was such a shitty bachelor, though.
Yeah,
but
I mean, it's just interesting to see, like,
don't trust a pilot. That's all I can say.
Well, what about our newest Bachelorette?
Our 2 newest? I mean, Rachel's like, I don't think she flies commercial, though.
Okay. There's a prestige to her pilot license.
I just think it's like if you fly commercial and like you're actively, like I've like seen, you know, on these dating apps, I see when pilots pop up here in Atlanta because, like, obviously, like, we've got the busiest airport, I think, in the United States and if not the world. And, like, pilots they're not in one place long. They're out here moving around. They're out here. They literally have hoes in different area codes because they can. So I don't know.
I was actually gonna say that. You took the words right out of my mouth. I mean, that's all the Bachelor stuff we have this week, people.
That is. And then I guess the other thing is Susie and Clayton are making their cross-country trek, moving him out of his place in Arizona with his brother, moving him into Virginia Beach with her. So right now I think they're already in Nashville, so they're nearly there. They're making their way to the East Coast.
Yeah. Do you think they're going to make it the long haul?
I don't know.
We'll see.
I mean, whatever.
Well, that's what we got, guys.
Future Bachelor Podcast.